Hey there, Steve Nixon here with Freejazzlessons.com. Thank you for joining me here for today's video. All right, today we're going to dive into some blues chord progression concepts. So the first 4 bars of the blues are actually really malleable. And essentially that's a fancy way of saying you can change the chords on them. And the way that we change the chords on them will get you totally different sounding stylistic elements. Okay, so for example, we could play it one way, use particular chords, and then it'll sound really kind of like down home early blues, right? We can play another way, it'll sound a little bit more like a Chicago blues or Chicago shuffle, right? The third way we could play it, it could sound a lot more like Oscar Peterson or Wynton Kelly, right? And then the fourth way we play it, we could sound more like Charle Parker or Barry Harris. You know, there's so many cool things we can do. All right, so we're gonna explore those different variations right now. Let's step over to the piano and get started learning. Thanks. All right, welcome to the piano. So let's get into our blues variations here. So we're going to be in the key of C for this example here, but as a reminder, you know, always apply what you learn in one key to other keys. This is what frees you up at the keyboard here. All right, so as we go along, we're going to get more and more harmonically sophisticated. But the first place we're going to start here is just really kind of gut bucket blues. And what we're going to do for the first 4 bars is we're going to hang on the 1 chord, all right? So just hang on C7 the whole time. So we get something kind of sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and... et cetera, right? Okay, cool. Simple stuff. All I'm doing there is just hanging on the 1 chord, right? As long as you got a good groove, there's nothing wrong with just laying in the pocket and staying on that 1 chord, all right? So that's just concept number 1. Just because we're playing jazz doesn't mean we can't just groove and hang on 1 chord. The next concept, okay? Similar to what we had in the first concept, but we're going to do one small little variation, and this variation is called the quick 4. Okay, so instead of doing this, you know, 4 bars of 1, et cetera, right? We're going to do a bar of 1, 2, 3, 4, then a bar of the 4 chord, okay, for a bar, and then bar 1 again, and then a bar of the 1. So take a listen to this. 1, 2, 3. Et cetera, right? So you hear that just sort of resetting the chord changes, just having that pivot from 1 to 4 to 1, already makes it just a little bit different sounding, a little bit more sophisticated, right? We're edging further forward here, all right? So that's variation number 2, the quick 4. All right, variation number 3, okay, and this is considered a little bit more of a jazz blues now, okay? And what we're gonna be doing here is we're gonna build off of what we saw in variation 2, where we're gonna have that 1 chord in the beginning, then that 4 chord, right? Okay, we're gonna go back to 1, but instead of hanging out on 1 for a whole other measure, we're gonna use a 2-5 of the 4, which is bar 5. So we're setting up the chord change in bar 5. So take a listen to this. Okay, so you heard there I was going C7, F7, C7, and then the quick 2-5. Okay, just sort of jazzing up that blues here. Here it is with more fuller voicings. C7, 2, 3, 4, F7, 2, 3, 4, C7, 2, 3, 4, G minor, C7 into the F, right? Kind of hipping up those chord changes just slightly. Again, getting more and more sophisticated as we go. go along. Our last variation, at least for this video, we have a ton of these harmonic concepts that you can apply to the blues and all kinds of great improvisational vocabulary that we feature inside the Breakthrough Blues Method course. If you don't own a copy of that, I highly encourage you picking that up, right? But our last one for today's free sample video is what we essentially call Parker blues changes, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to have that C7 in the very beginning, but now we're going to do a quick 2-5 into 6. Okay, then we're going to do another 2-5 into our 4. Okay, so it'll sound like this: 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Okay, simple kind of stuff here. Okay, we're just 2-5ing into things. Okay, so we got the C7, 2-5 into the 6 chord, chromatically going down into a 2-5 into the 4 chord. All right, and it continues on like that, right? So a lot more bebop oriented with those particular chord changes. I love jamming on those chords there, but I also love jamming on the first one where we're just hanging out on the 1 chord, right? So many different ways of coloring in, bringing out your own musical taste throughout the blues. All right, so as you saw, there's just so many different ideas you can apply to just those first 4 bars of the blues. More bebop ideas, more sort of Chicago bass ideas, more gut bucket down home 1 chord groove ideas. There's so many cool things that you can do with the blues, and we really just kind of scratched the surface here. Just such a beautiful art form. And if you want to learn more of these reharmonization techniques and all the different things you can do with the blues, I highly recommend that you pick up the Breakthrough Blues Piano Method. It's a really cool course. Hall of Fame pianist Bruce Katz and I got together. We put it together, we authored it, and Bruce sits down and just teaches years and years of all the amazing stuff he's learned as far as blues piano goes. Highly recommended course. All right, so enjoy your practicing on these 4 little variations, and we will see you at Freejazzlessons.com.